As you all know, in patch 6.0, Omen received a nerf that nobody was expecting. His red arrow one-way smokes no longer work. In my opinion, this is only a slight nerf to Omen because it just raises the skill floor of players who choose to play him. The only real nerf here is that you can't just wing a red arrow one-way into a wall, and you have to actually place it on a ledge, making one-ways take longer and harder to do on rotation. In most cases, the only nerf to the one-way is your ability to do it while rotating. However, some of the red arrow one-way smokes were very effective and no longer exist. As such, this is an updated Omen guide for green arrow one-ways on his meta maps of Haven, Ascent, Split, and Lotus. Feel free to use this cheat sheet for reference of the one-ways I'm going to be showing. Keep in mind, each one-way is ranked on a scale from 1 to 3 in lines red, yellow, and green, like traffic lights. Red being the worst, green being the best. The top line represents how easy it is to do the one-way, especially on the run. The bottom line represents how easy it is to get value out of the one-way. And that's based on two things: kill potential and likelihood of using it in game. Keep in mind, some of these are very situational, so you might not be using them too much. I'm going to be going over these one ways in order of how frequent I think you might use them in a game. First with defense, and then with offense. Alright, the first map we're going to be going over is Ascent. Now this one way in A main is essential to stopping attackers from taking early A main control. I personally recommend holding it with two guys and then telling your other guy to bug off and go with cat. Speaking of cat, this one way is super effective. You used to be able to throw a red arrow here, get a nice one way, but you can't do that anymore. However, you've got this lantern right here. It's hard to do it quickly, but it's basically the same thing. Now, if you're not holding from garden and you're holding more from tree, you can also do it on the left lantern, which no one was considering back when we had the red arrows. But I actually like this one way more. Makes it much harder for them to come in, but it's harder to get a kill on them when they're crossing cat. But this skill is free. Now, if B is more your style, you can do this one way in B main on this lower ledge above the fish garage, and this will effectively stop attackers coming through B main. However, be careful, because if they do run through, they can get past the one way. So try to have a Sova dart on the roof or a breach stun, or just swing really wide and be ready for this guy. Now, if they are running past your one way and there's nothing you can do about it, don't worry. We've got a one-way B main on this lantern, and you can hold this from either stairs or market. Now let's say that there's nothing you can do A main, and they're just taking early control, flash it through your one-way, camo knifing, all sorts of jazz. Don't worry. You can switch to Heaven, play this one-way, and the attackers won't see a thing. Also, if you're feeling tricky, credits to Charlatan for this one, you can do these fake one-way smokes, where you go on a higher elevation and do a one-way that looks a little too high. That'll confuse the enemies.
Cover going out.
Like this is not the right one way. They can peek under that to see Heaven, Dice, and Jet. So they'll swing, but you're over here, and you've got the angle. Alright, and the last defender one way I want to show is actually for the mid push, where if they're coming up to Pizza and Market, you can do this one way.
Cover going out.
I got this one from Sean Garris. You can hold like this, or you can hold in Market. It's just a little harder. So if you trust that someone's got your B main, or you know they're all coming up mid, drop this one way. Now the last defensive one ways I'm going to show you are two retake one ways. And if you ever have two smokes on the B retake, you don't know what to do with them, just toss them back sight, like so. And it makes clearing front sight a breeze, because you don't have to worry about these angles, right? Now let's talk about some attack side one ways. Keep in mind, these are generally for post plant and not the sight take, because on the sight take, the defenders are going to be backing up, so they might get equidistant from you on the one way and reduce or cancel out the angle advantage completely, making it so that you actually one-wayed yourself. So be careful with these and warn your teammates, because sometimes they'll peek from a dumb angle where it's not actually a one-way. The first one-way we're going to go over is tree. So as you can see, you might get punished like this coming into sight, but if you're holding like so in the post plant, you're fine. Now in the B hold, there are a ton of one ways for you to use. All right, one of my personal favorites is Market. Okay, pop this one way. Boom. They can't see you. Be careful though, if you're playing it from the left side or from the middle, they can see you. So let your teammates know to not be stupid. Okay. Alternatively, you could go lower, but it's much harder to net a kill, because you won't see their feet. You'll just see like their gun poking out first. So you still have the advantage. It's just not as large. Next one way is for CT.
Cover going out.
And you can do this one way and hold from stairs, or you can hold from logs or B main. Doesn't really matter. Alternatively, from stairs, you can do this one way on the other side. TP up top of this box. And the next one way is for lane. The alt attacker's coming up there. Throw it on top of this lamp. Easy peasy. They can't come through. These guys are just dead. Similar on the left side for stairs. You just throw it up on this roof. And now they can't come through. Now a really tricky one is if you play up here and you've got a smoke on top of here, which, by the way, doubles as a one-way for the bomb. If they're crouched here, diffusing, it's a one-way. But you can play around these smokes, and you have a one-way here, and you're protected from lane. Once again, press the charlatan for this one. And if you want to be tricky, you can TP on top. Do all sorts of things to mess them up. Similar to how you can one-way the bomb on B, you can also do it on A. When you're one-waying the bomb like this, make sure you're not putting the smoke on the edge because it'll make the bottom go on the bomb and make it harder to spray them because the smoke will be at its widest point at the bottom. So to illustrate that, if you smoke like this, they can hide in the smoke and you might miss your sprays. And you can see that there's the smoke intersecting the ground. But if you smoke further into Gen, then you can see their feet while they're diffusing, no matter what. So, if you put your smoke a little further back from the edge, you can actually get a perfect one-way that'll stop them from diffusing. Like so.
Shadows traveling.
And if we go to this one-way, you'll see, when they try to crouch to diffuse, they are screwed. We see their feet here, because this is not where it intersects into the ground, and they just can't diffuse. It's great. And the last kind of useful attacker one-way I want to cover is this one, Heaven.
Cover going out.
I say kind of useful because honestly I don't like it, because I think that the defenders could still clear this stuff out when they're coming out and then wide swing. So I don't like it, but I know some people do, so I have it here. Alright, and finally I'm going to show some one ways that you're probably not going to use, and for that reason they're not on the Battle Planet screenshot. However, they do exist and I'd like you to be aware of them. So here they are.
Shadows traveling. Cover going out. Shadows traveling. Cover going out. Cover going out. Shadows traveling.
Alright, that's probably about every one way you'll ever need on a set, but I want to show you one bonus trick. It's called a falling one way. Credits to Wahujin. I think he got it from a C9 player. Not sure. He can fact check me on that, but I learned it from Wahujin. And this is a falling one way smoke. You peek when this arrow goes away. Boom. The smoke will land on their heads if you do it correctly. You gotta practice this in a custom. Please don't just wing this in a game.
Cover going out.
I try to get the bottom of the sphere aligned with the green arrow. And you can do this anywhere, which is the best part of it. It's really effective in choke points, like A, B main tiles.
Shadows
And it's
traveling.
really easy to do. And it turns into a normal smoke afterwards, which is really nice. Alright, and now we're on to Haven. Like I said, I'm going to start with defense, and then offense, and in order of what you're going to be using the most. So, the most common smoke I use on defense as a one-way is actually garage. Do this outer garage door, and you can hold from window, or from inside garage, and they can't see you no matter what, even if they back all the way away. You can also do it on the inner door, and I like to do that when I'm holding close, like with a shotgun or an SMG on an eco round. I like this smoke right here.
Traveling.
If you're holding from window, then you can do this smoke above the doors.
Cover
However,
going
I don't
out.
recommend holding from window because you're probably going to get smoked off. So you can alternatively do it from on top of this box, but be careful, you might get sprayed because it's pretty predictable. So next one was for A-long. You gotta come here, aim onto the sledge.
Shadows traveling.
You can hold this from heaven. Now an alternative one way you can do for long is on top of this box as they
Cover
enter.
going out.
This is really effective if you know that you have short control, or you can hold this cross, and your boys like CT can handle short. This is really lit. Now if you're worried about short, you can throw it on top of these boxes outside of short. And this is an effective hold for short. Now let's say you want to get more aggressive A, you can throw this one way outside of A main.
Shadows traveling.
And this will help your teammates fight the A lobby guys up here without fighting these garden guys back there. Or if you just want to hold short, and admittedly, this one way is kind of hard to hit. You can go on top of this archway, wherever the archway is. Luckily, this is a pre-round thing.
Cover going out.
And you run down, and you just have short. They're not going to walk through that. Now, you can also do one short. You want to hold from back here
Shadows traveling.
on this arch. If you're holding from top site or from platform, you can do this ledge.
Shadows traveling.
I prefer to hold it from top side. It's just not that good anywhere else. If that's not your style, you can hold from logs with this one way.
Cover going out.
And if you don't like that, you can hold from platform this other one way. So be careful.
Shadows.
If these guys know what they're doing, these one ways will broadcast your position. Because everyone knows that these one ways aren't actually that good. And the last one way I want to show you for defense is outside of garage. You can do this on a mid push. Like smoke this one way, and then smoke window,
Shadows traveling. Cover going out.
then flash mid.
Stealing sight.
Alright, now on to offense. Once again, these one ways are mainly for post plant. You know, just garage one way.
Cover going out.
Please don't hold it from here. This is not a one way. However, if you come to the side, this is a one way. So make sure you don't have your idiot teammates holding like this. Next is the one way for CT. You just go on this ledge here,
Shadows traveling.
and you can hold this from basically anywhere. I prefer on top of this box. Next are the two post plant one ways. Got one on default.
Cover going
Once again, make sure it's not on the edge so that you could easily see their feet. And then you've got one for the Omega long plant that I don't really see people doing anymore.
traveling.
Moving on to the B site, we have very similar concepts as garage. We've got these doors.
Shadows traveling.
I'll just throw one ways on top of them.
Cover going
Now, you
out.
can do these on site takes if you're just going front sight and then dipping. Pretty effective. If not, no, I wouldn't really do them because I don't trust my teammates to not go back sight and peek like this and get crapped on. Post plant, you can do the same.
Cover going out.
Post plant one way, really convenient, surprisingly common. And last but not least, if you're taking B site, you think there's a dude back gong, hit him with one of these,
Shadows traveling.
and this guy's dead to rights. Now in A, I had 3 one ways, 2 in the choke, so 1 CT, top of the doorway,
Shadows traveling.
and 1 heaven. I actually like this heaven one way
Cover
because it
going
makes it
out.
so that when they jump out of heaven, you can see them sooner as compared to the normal one, as compared to the normal smoke because it's higher up. So they'll come out here, whereas in the normal smoke, you'll see them like here, and you have less time to react. So I actually like the one way heaven. So you got the one way on the default plant.
Cover
like
going
this.
out.
Once again, just make sure that you don't have the very bottom on the bomb because it will not let you see their feet, and you might whiff and lose the round. Don't do that. Now, once again, here's a compilation of one ways that probably not going to use, but they exist, so yeah, they are.
Cover going out. Cover going out. Shadows traveling. Watch them run. My ultimate is ready.
Alright, and that's all the one-way smokes for Haven. Now let's go on to Split. Alright, next map is Split. Got a different shirt because I ran out of storage on my phone. But Sledge and A main, you can throw a one-way. Looks like this. Do be cautious with this one-way. The attackers can run past it before it blooms. However, if you have a breach or like a sky flash or something of the sorts to slow them down, this one-way is very... The next one-way is on ramp. Throw it like... And this is for if you can't hold down A main, you can do this one-way. Now they can't come ramp, so it makes the retake a lot easier. Now if you're rotating over and you really don't want to deal with ramp, instead of just smoking it, you could throw this one way. Alright, in B main, you've got this one way. If you can make it land, you're god. Because I'm about 1 in 7 making it land, so I don't recommend it. However, I do recommend doing this one, that you could hold from heaven, like so, or from hell. Doesn't really matter, just don't hold it from sight. Very difficult to play B on Omen, so I don't recommend it. Now in mid, there are 3 one ways I believe you should know, with 1 bonus one way. First, you got the sewers box. I recommend throwing it more towards the middle so that you can actually see their feet, because if you put it on the edge, it's much harder to kill. Then, throw it on the ledge and ramen. When you're playing this one, I actually recommend moving up, because they might pre-fire you vents. Last but not least, you've seen this on a lot of Viper players. You throw this one way on this ledge above male, and now they can't come up heaven. This is really effective when you're dealing with people who like to rush mid, especially with Neon, or Raze, Jet, Brimstone comps, and ranked. This will really help you. And for our bonus one way, go to sewers, go to the edge, walk back a little. We get a green arrow. Just gotta go down as far as you can. It's pre-round. This will help you set up a mid rush. Okay, this prevents the sewers players from coming out. You throw like a flash left side, force them back, and they can't see a damn thing. So maybe you're on an eco round, you want to pull some shenanigans, push ramen, great smoke. Now for offensive one-ways, start with B, just because there's less, and move to A. The first one's on this box to the right of pillar.
Shadows traveling.
It's one way for backside, and it's also a decent smoke for heaven that you could just run by. You really like get it lined up on the corner.
Cover going out.
I really just use it to TP in. Next, if you plant the bomb right here,
Here.
you can one-way the bomb so that the defenders can't defuse. And it ends up looking like this. Now, one-ways heaven and CT do exist. They're not particularly good. The heaven one's decent if you're hell, but it falls a lot. And the CT one, I've gotten to land once in over 50 tries. It doesn't matter which bar I put it in up here, it just does not stay. So, an alternative one way that I quite enjoy is right here on Rafters.
Going out.
Because I'm okay with people dropping hell because I don't have to fight them, but Rafters is very annoying. This one way will keep them from swinging out, and it does very well to pair it with this one and TP into them. This will create a different angle, and will help you split the site. On mid, you can one-way vents. It doesn't matter if it falls, because
Cover going
it's
out.
vents, it should be smoked off anyway, but that's what it looks like. My general advice on offense is to not use one-ways while taking the site. However, on A, it's a different case because they actually work. You got this one-way screens, first of all,
Cover going out.
and then you get one-way heaven as well, and there's nothing the defense can do about it. Usually there's some weird angle that the defense can take and your team can unintentionally throw because your smokes are bad, but not in this case. Next, we've got post-plant one-ways. First of all, we got screens again.
Shadow.
Right, next we got post-plant one-ways. First one is screens, barely up.
Cover going
Make sure you don't do it too high. Make sure your teammates aren't holding from elbow. It works, but it's not the best. So you really want a guy like you. Or just don't hold it at all. Hold wide. Next, these blinds can be one-weight on. So this is really effective. Pop one of these. Can't come through. It's also a skill one-way where you throw it on this ledge here. So line yourself up. And just aim up and down until you get a green arrow. Looks a bit like this.
Going out.
You can get a little higher, but like I said, it's a skill stroke. You want to get it there, that's the perfect height. If you can line it up in game, good for you. Next, we got this deep elbow one way. If they're rushing into you from main, this is good to make that elbow guy fuck off. And he cannot run through this. Lastly, we've got two one-ways to help stop them from coming into sight. I like it on the edge of this box. They really can't come through. But you could also do it on the map, but don't. Lastly, we've got this one-way vents. It's really effective. Try to get it on this lower lip here. But if you have to go to the upper lip or you mess it up, it's also fine. And I'll show you why. You do it on this lower lip, they cannot see you. Ever. Okay? It's like literally impossible. This is the tiny window that they have. That's it. They're not seeing shit if you just stand back here. Next, if you make it go a little higher, because you were rushing it or whatever,
Cover going out.
they still can barely see you. Okay? This is the window they have. That's it. And they're not accurate either. So, yeah. It's pretty easy to get the kill. So easy, in fact, to get
Don't
the
worry,
kill.
guys. I got a one way. I
I
got a
hit
one way.
this clip during a 10-man scrimmage.
One enemy remaining.
Now, lastly, on to Lotus. Now, Split and Lotus didn't have as many one-ways as Ascent and Haven, but in my opinion, the extra ones that I would show you on Split and Lotus just aren't that good, and you're never going to use them. So, first things first, got this one-way outside A main. You choose to do it on the side of the door, which I like more. Similarly, on C, you can throw a one-way on the edge of this box, and they can't come see anymore. Now, let's say you don't feel like throwing that one-way. Well, guess what? Got some out here too.
Shadow.
You can play like this, or you can play inside the site with this one.
Shadows.
You know, either play up here or back here. I'm gonna be honest, that's really all the useful one-way smokes for defense. But on offense, there's a ton. Okay, first of all, we got stairs.
Cover going
Spoke that off. Can't get opt anymore. Next, got above all the doors. Okay,
going
you
out.
can go above the A door. You can go above breakable door, and you can go above the C door. Then, as we come onto the A site, got this one way. You can use it on defense too. I just find it better to be on post plant. Because people generally come more through tree than through main. As you come into site, you've got some one way options. You got CT if you want to hold that. You got drop if you don't feel like fighting it. And then you could go basically anywhere around this like hut There's all sorts of stuff you can clip onto. So let's say you planted the bomb here. Now you've got a one-way, right? And if you plant the bomb where I think you should, on the edge here, you've also got a one-way on these vines. Really effective. No one ever expects it. They always get mad in game. Next, on B, got one-ways in all the chooks, okay? It's not really necessary, honestly. But in case you were ever wondering, you can one-way all these doors.
Cover going out.
Finally, on C, here are some one-ways you might want to employ. Got this one, Deep Waterfall. Also got one, Close Waterfall, but it's not nearly as good. I don't recommend it, but it exists. If you plan a default, you can throw a one-way on the bomb so that the diffuser can't see anything. And if you push CT and got this plant down, then you can throw a one-way here to make sure that you don't get flanked from CT. I do have to admit, Omen losing his red arrow one-ways was a substantial nerf. However, he still has some good one-ways. They just take a little longer to do, or you really have to make sure you line it up so that it doesn't fall. I hope that this video shows you that even though you might have to put a little more work into playing Omen, this is overall good for him, and there's still tons of one-ways you can do around the maps that he's met up, such as Bind, Breeze, Fracture, Icebox, and Pearl. Please leave a comment and let me know. Now, if you enjoyed this video or the resources I provided, you could join my Discord server where I have tons of resources, including those images I showed in the beginning, so that you don't have to screenshot them. You just download the images and you can reference them in your games. I also offer one-on-one Valorant coaching, and I post tons of resources for my students that only they get to see. So feel free to check that out. There's a link in the Discord for my Calendly where you can schedule a consultation call with me, or you can schedule a session if you think you're ready for one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.